Hello, how you doing? My name is Keith Aumiller, and the topic on this video is basically how to take a pinball machine like one you see here, where it's missing, like the CPU boards, missing quite a few things, and basically how to get it up and running again without even using those. I came up with a crazy and bizarre way to actually get these things running again, and it involves several different things. One thing you'll need is X-Arcade joysticks that have the micro switches that are on the backside. You just need to have those wired up, like say for stuff like in here for your switches here, you wire those up. Second thing, a computer, PC computer, and also game maker software, so you can write the coding and everything for the program that you want it to do. So and very important to have these items. Also as well, 5.1 surround sound for like back of your computer. You'll need that too. Very important too. And the last and final thing that's important is you got to have the clapper. The clapper is one of the main key things that makes this whole project work all together. And when you use all these parts all together in union, basically you'll have a finished product, but you'll also have a game that you can uniquely design the way however you want it, in terms of the scoring, the sound effects, the number of balls that you play on the game, everything. And just to give you an example, like this here, I bought this space shuttle, actually both space shuttle pinball machines. This one here and this one here, I both got them from TNT Amusements, and of course it's got a head on top of there too, but it doesn't have any of the boards or anything like that in there to make these complete. And as you can, hopefully you can see here off camera, but got all this wiring and all this other stuff. Don't need any of that. Like I said, you could spend thousands of dollars on boards and everything to get them all original, the way how they were again. And well, anyway, this video is not even about that. This is about doing things in a different, unique way, and also in a cheap way as well, to enable to get a finished product out. So basically, one thing that you don't need anymore is you don't need to use the power supply that's in there anymore. Because you're not even using that. And let me show you real quick. Hold on a second. For example, for this game here, this game was perfect because the whole play field was populated. It's got its flippers, it's got the bumpers, it's got everything on here. Of course, I added a few extra things on there. I don't know if you can see or not. Added a whole bunch of extra stuff to the game. Even created a custom rail for the game. But everything else, like the flippers, the bumpers, all this other stuff came with it. But once again, the thing that wasn't there was the actual all the CPU boards that are on the back, or the drivers. None of that stuff came with this. Move this back. So anyway, so what I did. So what I did was I tied everything in together. So say like your flippers, these flippers here, basically using 48 volts, which is this AC to DC power supply here, converter. It's going to 48 volts at 7.3 amps. I basically got this wired up to get these to function. And anyway, I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of the amount of detail on the whole wiring and all that for this video. But basically everything that functions, like your pop bumpers to your little kickers on the sides, they all take a power supply too. These like take 20, let's see, was it 20, let's see, 24 volt for that stuff. The pop bumpers too, let's see. Hold on one second. Yeah, they're taking 24 volts at 10 amps. That's for all your pop bumpers, your kickers, the ball things that take the ball out of the holes here. The ball retriever retrieves it over on the side. All that takes 24 volts at 10 amps. And the only thing that actually draws more is this here. These are 48 volt by 7.3 amps. And you can get these at Amazon. And basically that's how I was able to get this whole game to operate and move around. Now, the funny part of it all is the clapper here. And you're saying, well, what in the world's a clapper doing in a game? You know, this is those things that you've seen on TV where, you know, the clap on, clap off, you know, that whole commercial. But anyway, I use these for controlling, like say when the ball lands in here, and say when the ball gets saved up in here, and when you go up the ramp, these balls are supposed to come down. Well, there was no way that I was thinking, well, how in the world can you do that, control that, and to make that function without using the CPU? And I figured out that by, by taking one of these devices here and wiring up an RCA jack to it, and then taking the other part of the RCA input and hooking it up to a 5.1 surround sound plug-in jacks, like say on the back of a computer, you're able to trigger and to activate, like say these here, have a pop bumper come up, have this launch the ball over. You're able to have and be able to do all that stuff. And well, let's see. So for demonstrations here, I've got this this little craptastic little Casio sampling keyboard, and I'm just gonna go. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and hook that up to this here, and I'll give you a little demonstration and to show you how this works. And after that, then I'm going to show you and give you more of basically of since this works like this or whatever, I was going to show you how you use that for your game maker software. Where you put that in the audio and stuff. You put it in for like independent channels. You're able to activate all that stuff. You wouldn't be able to hear it while you're playing the game. But anyway, let me hook this up real quick, and I'll show you I'll show you how this operates. Okay, now here's this where everything kind of all ties together. Here's all the craziness part of it. Right here, I've got the clapper. If you can see that on camera or not. Got this plugged in. Got this RCA jack, which is connected to the little sampling keyboard. Hopefully you should be able to see the lights on there when I press this. But anyway, so what happens is when this gets triggered by the sound, either by two knocks or claps or whatever, through this keyboard, through this RCA jack, it'll trigger, like these switches here, it'll trigger them to, whoops, it'll trigger them to come on. So I want you to see this. Hold on a second, I'm trying to get this pulled. I want you to see. This damn thing works. It's crazy. You know what? Hold on one second. Let me do this. Let me take this up so I don't go nowhere. Just temporary. Make sure you see this. Anyway, all right. So, like I said, you can see, and I'll just hit this one time. You'll see that light up. See how that lit up? Just showed that it was just only one time. So it takes two. It either takes two sounds of 2 claps or 3 claps or whatever to actually activate this. And if you wouldn't mind, I already put this little target down here. But anyway, these here, when I hit this 3 times, these will the little ball releases. They'll come up, and this drop target here, this will come up. So I'm trying to get this all in viewing so you can see this here. Anyway, I'm going to hit this 3 times and watch what happens here. And then I hit it 3 times again, and everything will retract. It'll disable the solenoid switches. So here we go. Ready? So that's one of them. Now I've gone over here. I've got a little ball return, so it takes this and returns this over here into where the ball plunger is at. And let me demonstrate that. It only takes 2 clicks. So here we go. Hopefully you can see all this stuff on the video here. I'm hoping. Okay, here we go. See how I did that? All you do is you hit it one time with like 2 times in order to engage it, and you hit another 2 times again to disengage it for your solenoids. So your solenoid switches. So let me shut this off. Like this. So now you're saying, well, okay, so how's that all? How does that all work with the computer and all that? How do you get the computer to trigger all this stuff? And it's real easy. Tell you what, let me stop the video here real quick, and I'll bring down a few things here, and I'll show you that too as well. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Now, you're okay. Now you're saying, okay, so how this works? That's great. Using a little sampling keyboard to do that. Wow, that's whatever. But how do you get a computer to actually do that? And real easy actually. You take. This here is a 5.1 surround. Bought this off of eBay. Didn't cost that much. I think like $20 or something like that. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but you got line in, front out, rear out, and center and base out. Well, how I've got this, I'm going to have this set up here is for the front out. That's going to be for like your left and right speakers. I'm going to have that too, so when you're playing the game, you can hear all the music, the sound effects, all that other stuff. But basically, it's all sampled WAV files or MP3 files I'm going to be using for that. Using the Game Maker software, running it through that out to the computer, out to this here, right? Now, what's interesting is the rear out and the center bass out. Well, that's like if you have 5.1 surround, right? And I'm not going to be hooking up any speakers to those, right? What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be hooking up that little RCA jack with an adapter. I'm going to hook that up to the rear out and their center bass out. So when you're playing the game, guess what? You're not going to be hearing the rear out or the center bass out. All you're going to be hearing is the front out, like how everybody else would. So anyway, in the program using Game Maker software, for the sound files. So when you put it into the game and everything like that, it's got like a 3D sound section or whatever that you have in there. Well, you put in a wave sound that only plays out for this rear sound or this bass out sound. So what you would hear is you would either hear the two claps or the three claps coming through here, or coming through the bass out, center or bass out. So you'll either hear 2 or 3 claps coming from that. You can't, but you can't hear that while you're playing the game. All you can hear, since you only got speakers or whatever, are coming out from the front out. Okay, so these two here are hooked up to the clapper, so you can have basically 2 clappers or up to four things you can control on the play field or more. You know, so like I said, this here is just mainly for your average speakers that you can hear, right? And these other 2 are for the wiring up to the clapper where you can't even hear it while you're playing the game. All you're hearing is the front speakers. So anyway, so what you do, like I said, in the Game Maker software, that's where you can control basically everything, and I'll show you that here in a little bit. And this here, what I was talking about earlier, this is the X-Arcade joysticks. You can get these for about $100, and this has got the interface here that goes up into your computer. So once you have this plugged into your computer, basically, I'm trying to keep it simple. Once you get plugged into your computer, this all functions. Like all these different buttons. Like this might be like button A, button B, button C on your keyboard. You know, so you hit any of these or whatever, it would, you know, if you hit this button, it'll cause it to do whatever. This is like mainly used for like MAME, arcade stuff. I've used these in many other different projects too. But anyway, so what I was talking about is you got all these micro switches. Actually, you just want to take these micro switches out. You don't even need those. You just take this part here, like these 2 part here, these connectors here, and you wire up to, like, say your switches that are in here. You know, like when the ball hits and just get that little switch that's in here. You would wire that up to like one of these here. So then let's just say that this one here is like your A button here. Well, in that Game Maker software, you put down if A is pressed, you know, like the A key is pressed, like on a keyboard, which this is, you know, let's say that is A. What will happen is it'll that's where you could say, well, you if this is it, score equals plus 100 points or whatever. So you add 100 points to your score, you know, and you could do that. Or if it exits the play field down here, right? you could have like a, maybe make it for, let's just say for let's just say this is the B button here. Well, you take the wiring from the B button, you wire it up to there, right? So when it hits that switch that's in here, it'll tell the game maker software, well, if this key is pressed down, B key, do this. And then what would happen is you could say, okay, you could say ball is drained, loss of life -1. And you could, and then for the trigger, the clapper or whatever to come on to activate that, because now the ball's over here. You wanted to get it back over here, or to get the ball to come, the next ball come out over here. You would say, well, if this ball is in the B switch here, if the B key is pressed down and he's got another life to go, then play sound, double clap or whatever name you want to call it, and then it'll basically send a signal out twice, like boom, boom, a little clap sound through that. What I was telling you about those rear channels, that rear out or the center base out, whichever one you want to use, it'll send that to that clapper through the RCA jack, and then what it'll do is it'll say, okay, play this, boom, boom, and then it'll play that little sample sound of like 2 claps or whatever through here, and then it'll cause that ball to return back over here, and then you can keep playing. So basically, that I'm trying to keep this as easy as light in this conversation, in this topic today. Eventually, I'll get more thorough with everything on more in detail on stuff. But like I said, with this here, basically any pinball machine now, if you're missing the head on there, you don't have none of the CPU, you don't have none of the driver board, you don't have any of that stuff, but you do have, like, say, the parts here, or even if you don't even have the parts here, and you buy new flippers and coils and all other stuff, and you wire all this stuff up. Well, now you can get to work, and now you can get to work really cheaply too. So far on this one space shuttle project here, I've spent now probably total for everything. Let's see. Well, the cabinet here, this was $400, and then for everything else, $500. So about total $900 to get this thing up and running. And the other thing I still got to do is I still got to invest and buy. I'm going to buy a monitor that comes down at an angle. I don't know if you ever played the game Revenge from Mars or anything like that, where as you're playing the game down here, it looks like everything's like visually down here. That's what I'm gonna do. And I'm basically gonna make my own little custom background that appears into the playfield area. I'm gonna be doing that as well, and with different video shots and different background stuff, just to make it different. Since this here is my space shuttle pinball machine, but I'm making it into a Space Force pinball machine. So it's gonna play close to the original Space Shuttle game, but I'm gonna have, like I said, I'm gonna have some live video in the back, like some full motion video going on. I'm gonna change up the game just a little bit more on it. And right now I'm kind of stopped on the projects. I got other things going on right now, but about a couple more weeks I should be able to get back on this. And once I do, probably take me about maybe like 2 or 3 more weekends, and then I'll have the thing fully completed, which I'll go ahead and take and upload another video showing the actual gameplay fully completed, finished, and everything else. But right now in the meantime, I can't work on it right now due to other obligations right now. But anyway, that's where I'm at. So, like I said, any pinball machine, if you got the cabinet and you got a play field, and if you got a populated play field, great. Then you can make one of these things work again, including the electromechanical ones. You can do that too. But the thing is you'll have to convert those over to DC. You don't want to play around with AC, because with DC, you might, if you screw up on a wire, well, guess what? You might burn up that one wire. But if you plan around with the AC, and basically you're gonna fry all your wires in your pinball machine. And it is a bonus too. You're gonna probably burn down your house too. So it'd be best if anything for electromechanical, you want to convert that over to DC using maybe like how I've got here, AC to DC converters. A lot safer. And but yeah, and if you get a chance to check out what Todd Tuckey and the crew over there at TNT Amusements have. They always get these bargain basement deals where they might have like an incomplete pinball machine like this here. I think it'd be a fun and good project. And anyway, this here, if you got some skill level, I mean, it's perfect. If you're a beginner, there's going to be a lot of trial and error and stuff. But like I said, this here, once again, I just wanted to show how and demonstrate this video on how this stuff works. I didn't get so far advanced and as detailed as I would like into this video to show how it's all done. And like I said, next video, I'll probably maybe do 2 videos. I'll do one where it got the gameplay in action, and I'll probably show in detail on how everything else is done. All the wiring to all the heat shrink tubing on the wires, all the other stuff. How to do all that stuff and do it properly and do it correctly. But anyway, I'll show you one more thing, and that's upstairs. I'll show you that software that I was talking about. That Game Maker software. They do make a Game Maker Studio. But you don't want to pay that. That's for like a professional edition. I'm sure that they still have it on the internet for free. They have it's just called Game Maker software. I'm sure you can still get it off the internet for free, and it's real easy. It's like a drag and drop. Most things, if you're doing something simple, a lot of it's drag and drop type of programming to other parts of it. If you're really in depth with it, there is some coding actually there's a lot of coding that you do if you want to really make something professional in terms of video game or whatever. But yeah, I've used it throughout all these years. I've used it to make all my games. And it's always been fun to write programs on there. And like I said, I do more of the coding aspect on there, not the drag and drop. But like I said, you could use it however you want, and it works out great. Anyway, I'll show you upstairs here real quick the software I'm talking about. The software that you want to get is Game Maker software right here. Version 8.0. That's what you want. And you should still be able to get that off the internet for free. Whatever you do not buy Game Maker Studio. Like I said, this software here should still be free on the internet for you. Now, here's what you can do with this software. Here it is. There's a program that I wrote a while back. Let me tilt this way. This here is Dragon's Lair pinball machine game that I created. Get it loaded up. Let's see, you had your sound effects, everything else. You can make whatever you want. Here. See, I made this a while back. Well, anyway, hold on. Let me escape out of there. And this all used this Game Maker software. So, for instance, up here, here's all your images, like Sprite Pinball, your flippers, all that other stuff. So you won't be doing all this stuff when you go to do the programming part of it. You won't be having to add images and all that. sounds you will. Like, see, here's all your different sounds. And this is where I was telling you about. So for the 5.1, for like the rear channels and all that stuff, you just have to use some music editor, like Music Maker or Audacity or whatever it is. Have something where it produces a like a sample sound of like 2 knocks or 3 knocks or claps or whatever you want. And well, anyway, when you get done that and you make it into a WAV file, then you'd load it up in here. You'd load up a sound. Here's Coins and Tray. And let's see. Here's a bumper sound of the bumper. Like I said, all this stuff you would add to the game. So anytime you would hit one of those micro switches from the X Arcade, it would cause a reaction to. You would program this to make a certain sound. And once again, these sounds here would be for your left and right, but also the other sounds, which you would go to a 3D sound, you would have it where you wanted to have it for like a rear channel or whatever. That's the things that you can't hear, and that would be hooked up to the clapper. Anyway, like I said, I'm just trying to give you guys a generalization of how this stuff all works here, how it all comes together. And then down here is your objects. So all your objects have certain properties to them. Like here's the pinball. This is all, like I said, this is from that Dragon's Lair game that I got on the internet that people can download. This is all the stuff that I have in here. Like here, like if Z key is pressed, what do? That ends the game. Keypad 2, left. This tells it over here. It tells it all. This is for your flipper. It tells it what to do on the flipper of this game here. Like I say, you're not gonna get into all this stuff here, Let's see. See, on this Dragon's Lair game, just to give you an example. Okay, here's your controller. On focus. Here's all the sound things. The sounds are playing. This stop playing. Well, anyway, eventually when I do a more thorough demonstration on this, how all this stuff works, whatever, I'll get more into this whole thing with the Game Maker software. Let you know how all this stuff works. So anyway, until then, I guess I'll leave you guys with just a little video snippet of what the intro of the game is going to be like on when I have the monitor on there stuff. So I'll give you something to look at anyway. Expect maybe another video in probably within another month with the completed game, and like I said, I'll even get more thorough or get more involved with explaining everything in detail. Like I said, this is all kind of loose. I'm trying to do it the best I can, trying to explain everything, trying to make it really simplified here for everything. So, but like I said, once you do a combination of all these, and using these different products and stuff and using it in this way, you'll be able to take any pinball machine, and get it working again and running again, even though you don't have the CPU boards or any of that stuff, you know. And anyway, hope you like this video, and if you do, pass it on to somebody else. Don't hit the subscribe button or like button. Don't care about any of that stuff. But if this interests somebody else, you know, and or else you know somebody that's about ready to take a pinball and put it in the landfill, you know, this might want to give them a chance to save their game and actually make one, you know, bring it back to life, hopefully. Anyway, all right, take care. See ya. Bye.